To the cloud.
Strawberry.
Old fashioned. This episode 8.
8 the Ocho. That's right.
Welcome to episode 8.
The
Conscious guys and my wife and my daughter get laid more.
Whoa!
Eventually. The keyword is eventually.
The keyword has always been eventually.
I was gonna be super mama bear on you for a second. Like I had my arms up like, oh, you don't talk about a girl like that.
That's right.
But then I remembered we're just having fun on a podcast. And I relaxed instantly.
Thank
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
Wow, how conscious
She's
of
laughing.
Yeah, she's got a great sense of humor.
She's amazing.
you. Those of you that can't see us, Cassie Crow, my wife, is here.
Hello.
And Grace Crow, my daughter, is here.
Yeah, the ladies are in the house.
That wasn't her, though.
She's not super talkative.
Sometimes she is. She might be.
She might
Yeah.
turn into
Yeah.
very talkative.
That'd be awesome.
We just turned her around, so now she's
Process you.
observing Uncle Andy.
Not so much. It's the beard.
You're used to beards, aren't you, though?
I was doing a workout with Alex this morning, and he kept telling me to close my mouth. And I'm all, my mouth is closed, motherfucker.
Because it looks like it's gaping open with your
It
beard.
looks like your mouth is open.
Well, when he, from the
Well-
angle he was at, like he was having me put my head back like this, and he's like, okay, close your mouth. And I'm all, my mouth is closed.
Close your lips like this. Nice.
What was that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You just can't see your lips anymore.
Yeah.
Karen doesn't like my lips to show. She's like, those are my lips. You need to cover those up. And I'm all,
Oh.
no.
You should let your stash grow over your lips.
I've done that, and it's gross when I
Yeah,
drink.
it totally.
so awful.
Super gross.
Yeah.
But just for the visual effect of it, sacrifice your comfort
Yeah, I would totally
for
sacrifice
your
my
looks.
comfort.
Since
for-
that's
You have
since you're
to do-
really into that.
You have to like stick your whiskers in your mouth and suck whatever you're drinking or eating off of them.
That's like your dad.
I know. I've watched
Yeah.
it my whole life.
Your
Yeah.
dad opens the garage door and then sticks his food in, and then
Sometimes
closes.
he goes like this and gets them out of the way. He brings it up.
He like
Yeah.
brushes them from left
But
to right.
I had some
it's
wax
it's
once.
yeah.
Just like the long old whiskers. That lasted about a week. I just couldn't handle it.
I
anymore.
can like the
It wasn't
curly-
super big, but it was just out like that.
Wow.
Nah.
I can't even imagine. That's such a trip. Could you just do it one more time just so I can see it?
Just so
better?
you can see it. All right.
Yes! That's how much influence I have, people. Watch out. I might
You're-
ask you to do something next.
You're a wooer.
Cheers.
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 Yes,
I
these
am a
are
wooer.
old fashions, strawberry old fashions.
Trader Joe's
Trader Joe's old fashioned.
old fashioned, and you've got a Lagunitas.
Hoppy refresher.
Don't even know what that means.
It's 0 alcohol. It is hops, carbonated water, dried hops, and nutritional brewer's yeast.
It's just like drinking diluted vomit. Why would you
Whoa,
want to do
whoa,
that?
whoa, whoa. Take it easy. It's nothing like that.
No?
No, it's
Hops are gross.
no.
Hops is what a beer tastes like.
Yeah.
Hops are what IPAs taste like.
And you don't like
Right.
IPAs?
They're
Oh,
disgusting.
okay. Well, now we
They taste like
understand.
vomit.
Ye of
Oh, now I get the thinking.
the unsophisticated.
Well, there it is.
palate.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
now I get the thinking.
Now you know why
Does that
we're,
work?
why we're processing him.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
gosh. Yeah.
so do you have your do you call your podcast people something?
Little shit
Little
so far.
shits.
Mm.
Like Grammy did.
No
Say what?
judgment.
Like my Grammy did. Little shits.
Oh, you little shits.
We'll call
Okay,
them
well I was gonna
love.
say, okay, little shits. So the guys, it doesn't feel right for me.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, that's
come
too
on.
bad for you. It's our fucking podcast, man. I invited you.
Well, I
here
wanted
into
to
your
address
life.
your people.
Yeah, all the little shits.
All two of them.
Yeah,
Which
No,
is
just
us.
Andy and myself.
Well, now that you have Grace on the podcast, you're gonna have all because her social media influence is crazy. Because
Yeah.
babies are born now with 1 million followers.
Dude,
That's what
amazing.
happens. Yeah, when you come onto the earth now, you are assigned a cell phone, a social media account, and you get automatically 100 million. No, just 1 million
Just a minute.
followers. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Yeah. Now you have to build it up to 40 million people though. So
Mm.
1 million is just the handicap.
No idea there were that many people in the world.
There are. There are. there might be that many people in California. I don't know. So anyway, okay, so conscious guys get laid eventually.
More.
More
Eventually.
eventually.
Get laid.
We don't want it once. Jesus.
Laid more than what?
Than we currently are.
It's always a
It's
constant
an
up leveling.
ever progressive movement forward.
Okay, I get it. Okay. So then, can we play with what we're calling your people for just a half a beat?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, because I understand the little shits because of the nostalgia.
This is my life.
I know.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, this is. I just have an idea.
Hey, just grow your mustache out.
Hey,
One more time for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Let's
and then
change the name of
people
everything.
Just
Okay.
do it, and they just do it.
You might, at the end of this conversation, decide to hold on to little shits. I'm just entertaining the conversation to see what happens.
That's
This is
that's
so
called
much.
that's called a push pull in the sales process. You're like, you may not want to do this,
As if you have a choice.
as if you have a choice.
Oh man.
Is it super hot in here?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so conscious guys get laid more eventually, right?
Eventually is the subtitle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that though.
It's cute.
It's less aggressive,
Right.
than conscious guys get laid more. Like there's like a
That's all it takes.
that's like there's a softness to it. Like eventually, I don't know, someday, and the up like it makes room for the up leveling. So I like it. I like the podcasting.
And then anybody can be on it.
Then anybody can be on
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Like Grace.
Yeah.
Like Grace. So what do you want to call your people as it relates to that? Booty seekers?
Our booty collars.
Well, no, because you guys are conscious, right? You're evolving. You're, if you will, seekers on the journey
Jesus.
to enlightenment, right? But you're also wanting to get laid.
What's
Booty seekers.
What's the term when you're saying yes to having sex, like a guy and a girl are saying yes to it?
Consensual.
Consensual. Something with that.
Consenting adults.
Are consenting. Yeah.
That's
Hey,
actually a
consenting
really
adults.
great. I like that. I like it. Is consent? Is there different ways of? So there's consent, consenting. Is there consensuous?
There could be
There is now.
eventually.
It's kind of
It's
sexy.
Consensuous seekers.
Consensual.
Consensual seekers.
Consensuality.
Yeah.
Is that true? Consensuality?
No.
Consensuality. Maybe.
I don't think it's a thing.
It's not a thing. Okay. Okay, so there's kind of an idea.
Mhm.
I like consenting adults. That's funny.
That is funny.
Like, hey, consenting adults. Today we're gonna talk on conscious guys get laid more eventually. It's fun to say it all together. Conscious guys get laid more eventually.
There has to be a pause.
I know,
That's the pause
but when there isn't, it's hysterical. Oh, that's very funny.
Do you think it's funny?
She's like, no.
She's wondering why you're drinking diluted vomit.
She's waiting for the conversation to start. Why are you guys
I
picking
really
names
like-
out?
I really want you to have one. So I'm gonna give you one so that you can
Right.
change the way you're describing it.
Oh, because it bothers you?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, this is what I do. Everything that bothers me just a little bit, I work on until it doesn't bother me as much. That's my life.
No, you work on the other person.
Well, usually it's other people that are bothering me. I like me. Just kidding. I work on me too.
Consistently.
Consistently. So, okay. All right. So, podcast listeners,
Mhm.
for the meantime,
Consenting little shits.
consenting adults. Lyndon and Andy wanted me to come on to the podcast
For fun.
for fun, but then just before we turned on this microphone, it turned into work.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all want to work.
Yeah.
You guys have something going on between the two of you
We got ish, we got junk.
that you want to get sorted out, and you want me to facilitate
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Something. Yep.
Okay, so let us hear the issue. What's happening?
Let's see. Long story, short story. How do we build context?
Well,
into
on
this?
a really dark morning in 1975, I was born.
And I wasn't a thought yet.
So
For another 12 years, 13 years.
I don't know, how old are you?
12 years. I don't even remember. 34.
You're 34.
34.
I'm gonna be 46 in 22 days.
22 days.
Don't get distracted.
Sorry.
What's the issue?
So yesterday, Lyndon yelled at me, and my feelings are hurt.
And yesterday, Andy was attacking me, and I attacked harder and faster.
So already we're being playful and weird. Honestly, today I'm still reeling. I've got my own issues and stuff around feeling worthy, feeling appreciated, feeling loved and belonging, and all of this stuff, right? And so a couple of days ago, Lynn and I were having a conversation, and I just was digging in my heels. I was not accepting the premises that he was presenting. I felt like I was being cornered or boxed into a conversation, kind of like a sales process where somebody wants you to get to say yes all the way up until the point where now you're going to have to say yes to what it is they're wanting you to buy. And I'm like, what do you want me to buy? And then he was feeling whatever he was feeling and started yelling. And this is how I remember it. And so
this is Sparta.
I would have kicked him in the chest if he was here.
If I
Into a
was here.
deep dark
He was
hole.
on Zoom.
Into a deep dark hole. And I've been in that hole for a few days. Like I thought I was out, and then like the last couple of days I've just been like finding other evidence and conversations and relationships and little bits of nonsense to kind of feed that need to stay small and
Yeah.
separate, right?
Yep.
You know this
yep.
about me. So
Yep.
this is where I've been and what I've been doing.
This is wonderful. I love this. You guys, thank you. This is so great. Okay.
Does it feel like work still?
No, I mean,
Yeah,
like
that's
this.
right. You're in heaven.
I told
Okay.
you. So one time, just as an aside, I told my, I call her my niece. She's just a close, lovely little girl that is in my world. And I told her what I did for a living. And at the end, I'm like, yeah, those are workshops. And she goes, they sound like fun shops. And I said, yes, that's my experience of them. They are fun shops. I love this stuff. So yes, I'm
Yes.
all in.
Cool.
Okay. What's your side of the story?
My side of the story is I noticed yesterday or whatever that was, Tuesday, right? That I had set up this ever-present dynamic that I keep replaying, which is I either get to do what I want to do and I get to do it by myself, which is not fun, or I go and do what everybody else wants to do, which is not what I want to do, and then that's not fun as well. But I at least get to either, so I get to be with people and not do what I want to do, or I do what I want to do, but I don't get to have anybody. So it's like it's a lose-lose situation. It's what's the lesser of two evils. And essentially what I did on Tuesday was demand him to come over and play with me.
Okay, that's good.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
Okay. All right. Now I'm tracking with you. At first I was like, you're telling me what you figured out. Like, what's the issue? Okay, good.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was demanding of him.
Okay, got it. You were demanding that he comes and does what you want to do.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Ooh. Okay, and so what, like, if we just to help give some context to our consenting adults. Man, I think that one's gonna stick.
Yeah, I think we'll go after this.
I really like it.
Mhm. And I'll like tops. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. You might. You might. Who knows? Who knows? So for our consenting adults, the let's just look at if I'm actually just going to say it this way:
Mhm.
you two were not playing your roles Okay. You were not in your function for the business and serving that function. You may have thought you were, but unconsciously you two were someplace else screaming at each other from your respective places. Right.
Yeah.
And so,
Mhm.
and so eventually we're going to get to where were you?
Mhm.
Right. But first, let's just talk about what are your roles? What was that conversation supposed to be?
I had the idea that we were coming together to create and investigate the business goals according to the metrics we want to see and the results that we want to have happen, and then kind of work it backwards to now understand the activity that the team is going to be doing, and then what we're going to be creating in the near future to generate those results.
Okay, so you were talking, okay, if I can just shorthand and kick that back to you.
Yeah.
It's like you had a vision, you two were coming together to discuss a vision and then work backwards to see what do we need to do now to make that happen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's you understood, and that was what okay. And then what are your roles in terms of making those things happen in an ideal world if you two were?
My intent in that conversation was that we are looking at it to create it together.
Okay, so the roles is you're a partnership.
Yeah.
Okay, and does each partner hold a specific role in relationship to the vision and executing those things? Like, for example, you hold the vision and you're the one who executes. I don't know. I'm sincerely asking.
There's a general that, yes, I'm president, he's director of operations, and so I'm holding on to, we want to hit we had a 10-year goal by 2028 that we want to hit with a number of and then our path in order to get there is part of what we're trying to create is part of what we're trying to create.
Okay.
He has that in his mind as well. We had that conversation.
What do you have in your mind?
What was the question?
What's our roles?
What are your roles? So that was the purpose of the conversation.
Yeah.
What are your roles in the just ideally that would function towards that purpose?
For that particular meeting, I was expecting and anticipating that our roles were going to be kind of side by side, looking at the pieces of the puzzle that are in front of us and how do we want to reorganize this and put it back together.
Okay, I don't either. I'm not asking a clear question, which is entirely possible. Okay, and I'll look at I'll see if I can restructure it, or it's not clearly defined who does what.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the way that I'm asking the question, it's not coming out. So
I feel like we both actually said the same thing. We were both coming in essentially as a team, coming up with where are we going and how are we getting there.
Okay,
Is
but
that what I heard
so
you say?
that's it's good. That's general because
Then I'm not
on
sure
a
what the
team,
question is.
like let's say there's a forward who is going to go and
We're
strike.
not even getting to that point.
That's
yet.
what I'm asking. I'm asking the role. I'm asking.
Oh, you're asking. I thought you were asking the role in that meeting. In that meeting, we're not getting to that yet. We're just talking about how is the business going, where it's going. We're not defining who is doing what and how things are getting done.
Okay, but there must be a role between the two of you to make those kinds of decisions. So I'm asking, what are the roles that you are holding that would make that kind of decision?
If my answers aren't sufficing, then you're right. Either you're not asking a question that I'm understanding.
Yeah.
Or we don't have that, or we're looking
Okay.
at it very differently than what you're asking. So
Okay.
it's a question that's not necessary for, or wasn't necessary for us in that conversation. Like I'm not.
Okay, it may not be necessary, but to me, the reason I'm asking the question in the first place is when you two went through your stuff about what the issue is, like it was so clear to me that either there was a role and you were objecting to it, or there was nothing that was clearly defined to have you go, this is how I'm supposed to be in this conversation. This is how I'm supposed to be in this conversation. Because you two are super aware, enlightened people. And if you got to the point where you're yelling at each other or attacking each other or something like that, there's something that I'm curious about, which is, was there a role and you were objecting to it, or was it a blank space and you guys filled it in with unconscious stuff?
Okay.
So we could go down that path. That's not the way that it sits with me. Is that we were stepping into other roles or other constructs, and it was regardless of whatever role that we were in or we were asked to be in.
That was like the big, I don't know what that means.
The way that I'm hearing you say this is that the role that we are supposed to have or should have had, or that we gave ourselves, we are objecting to, and that's what we're in reaction to.
That was a curiosity of mine.
Okay.
But from what I'm hearing, there isn't necessarily a role that you guys, like, you didn't come in with some expectation of yourself and how you're going to play as president, and you and how you're going to play as COO. What was the director of operations? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, this is what I was kind of hoping to hear, if you will, like what I, like, as president, this is who I am, and these are the functions that I serve, so that we can have this conversation about the vision and then working backwards. And as, why do I always forget your thing? I want to call you COO, director of operations. As director of operations,
you can call him COO. You call our listeners different things already. Anyway, we might as well change the podcast name.
I mean, if you really want my opinion, no. But as director of operations, this is the role that I serve in terms of having the conversation where we look at the vision and work our way backwards. And so I know my spot, I know his spot. Now we know how to engage so that we can have this conversation be successful.
Right. I don't know my spot. I'll cop to it. I don't know my fucking place.
The way that it sits in my mind
That's a good awareness, right? I mean, I feel like that's a celebratory thing.
The way that it sits in my mind is that conversation, we're coming in as teammates figuring out how the game is going to play. And there is not a hierarchy. Once it gets to a decision of what do we do, are we going to move on this, and who moves and how does that move, then it goes more into, there is a role and responsibility that I have. There's a role and responsibility that he has that I believe he knows, and I believe that I know. But in the conversation that I thought we were having, or that my questions were bringing up, was we're not talking about that. We're actually sitting above this and saying, as teammates here, what do we want?
Yeah.
Man, I don't even remember the conversation as having questions. So that's fascinating.
We're going to get into this in a second. So I'm just going to point out that even though I appreciate what you're saying, Lyndon, because I can understand, like, hey, let's wipe away all hierarchy. Hey, let's wipe away all of our roles and responsibilities, and we're just going to be complete equals and look at this thing as if we both have the same amount of responsibility in the decision-making process. But you and I both know that when it comes down to it, that's not true.
And once we leave that conversation, that's not true.
Yeah, I think I think that would leave. I think that is, and this is just my opinion at this point. Okay, like, not a facilitator or whatever, but this is an opinion of mine. That is a really challenging to do, because you know where you're headed. The mind is always anticipating where it's going. Right? So to say, oh, I'm not going to think about who has the most responsibility or who has the most influence or who has whatever, that's of course going to be in my mind as a teammate.
I hear what you're saying. I don't know. I guess I'm not clear on yet why that's of concern.
I think
because there was an issue. Just the fact that there was an issue, there are underlying unconscious things that helped fuel that, I think, is what she's getting at.
Oh, so your assumption is that because of that role, that's what fueled that.
That's
It's
part
a,
of it.
it's a,
It's
it
a
is a
contributing factor.
question in my mind. Yeah.
Got it. Are
Yeah.
you getting the question answered?
Yeah. Well, so here's what I'm doing. I'm creating.
Because you keep asking the similar questions, and I feel like Andy and I are either not able to answer your question or something.
No, you're answering.
Okay, great.
You're answering. Because it helps me get some context of like, what's the framework? What's the nature of the relationship? What would be ideal? And then we could look at where we were in relationship to that. It just gives me something to triangulate off of when we're asking questions. And if that happens to be beneficial later down the line, great. If not, then we scrap it. But
Mhm.
might give us some background,
Okay.
as we go in.
Okay.
I am really tall, you guys. I'm just have to.
I'm also kind of
Maybe
sitting
once
a
in a
little
while.
sleepy.
I'm like,
I think your chair is also higher than mine.
oh, that's what it is. I'm not tall at all.
You are really tall,
You're not.
but you're not
foot four.
that tall.
Oh wow. Wow. I'm gonna drink some more.
Ah. Okay, people. Okay.
All right, back
Okay.
to the question.
So now I think it is an individual process, right? Like to go into each of your stories. Now I would like to
Hmm.
go into those, but
Mhm.
before I do, I would like to also acknowledge that that I have always had a really fun time working with you and going through a process. And for our consenting adults, I'm talking about Andy. I've always had a really good time working with Andy. It's always been very easy. I find you very open. Lyndon
Lyndon, on the other hand.
has been less open to me.
I am open.
This is Sparta.
Yeah, right. I felt it a little bit in the initial question, so I just want to
I
name
felt it
it.
too. I felt it
I
too.
want to name it because and
Because the degrees are getting higher in here.
Yeah, totally. and we're gonna go into this and so the reason I'm naming it is one, just gonna put it in your awareness a little bit, but also because I am going to set an intention for myself to not get hooked into that,
Okay.
Nice.
because sometimes when he or I or whatever the kerfuffle that happens between the two of us,
Mhm.
I'm like, forget it. You can go and work it out with someone else. I don't care. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
really do a good job.
Me
I
too.
can feel it in
Me
my
too.
own bones.
And just be in me.
Cool. Cool. Okay. So who wants to go first? Lyndon. Just kidding.
I'm in. Oh yeah, that was a big laugh, wasn't it?
Whoa, look at that nose.
Yeah, I'm in.
What a cutie. You're so cool.
Okay. So you have a history of not getting what you want, and there's two ways that happens. One is you get what you want, but you're alone, which is not really what you want, or you give up what you want to go do what somebody else wants, but then you're losing what you want.
Yeah, and to elaborate on that first one, I'm doing the thing what I want, but what I want is to do it with people. So my scenario is that I play Frisbee with people, with my sisters and my cousins,
Mhm.
but nobody wanted to. So then I'm playing Frisbee by myself, which is not a very
It's a
cool
lot of
thing to
running.
do. It's
Could you imagine?
Or there's one throw that you do, the
Straight up at
straight
an
angle
angle
that
and nobody comes back. Get a
or I
boomerang.
do what they do, and then it's nothing of what I want to do, but then I'm with people.
Yeah.
So it's like it's there are two losses on the first one.
So essentially, it's two ways
Yeah.
for Lyndon to not get what he wants.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So
It's like a matrix.
like no matter
Nose.
one of those ones where it's like it doesn't matter which road you choose, you come back to that same
Mhm.
thing. Yeah, exactly. So so that's where that's like just what you're carrying around all day in general.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's just
Hopefully it's
everywhere.
not all day in general, but it probably is.
There's to the extent you're talking about it from a super young age,
Mm.
right? So this is a foundational, like if we looked at it like Inside Out.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, there's a delightful Pixar movie called Inside Out, and they do a really great job at showing what our core beliefs are and how they impact us, right? So there's like the main center where the emotions are running the show, and then they create these memories, and the memories get filed away, and some of them reinforce core beliefs.
That's awesome.
You're gonna watch all these, kiddo. Just get ready. And so that sounds like a foundational belief,
Mhm.
right? Like it happened often enough at a young enough age.
Mhm.
Dude, she's sad for you.
I'm sad for me too.
Yeah, she's like, Dad, I'm sorry.
We're sad together.
Or she's taking it personal already. She's like, am I not what you want? Am I never gonna be what you want?
Wow. That's a lot of pressure, kiddo.
I know,
Just let it all
right?
out. Yeah, let it all out.
Just cry. It's okay.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. So that's what's going on. At what point in the conversation did you like, I'm going to ask you kind of advanced questions. Did you walk onto the conversation already geared up against that? Do you know what I'm saying?
Knowing that that was on my mind,
Yeah.
or that could be on my mind.
Yeah. And here's what, and I'm asking you to really go back and look, not just go, no, it wasn't on my mind. No, I want you to go back and look at how you were feeling and what you were experiencing and what you were thinking before you got on the call with Andy.
So I had the conversation in my conscious leadership circle on Friday as to part of that awareness that was brought up.
Okay.
I'm potentially in a place where I'm not seeing options in front of me because I'm not seeing options in front of me because the only options I am seeing are a lose-lose option. Some
Got it.
So that was brought to my awareness on Friday.
Okay, got it. And
Then-
so then
yay. So then on Tuesday,
good job, girl.
So then on Tuesday, we had that conversation, and so it wasn't on my mind as like I walked into the conversation thinking, oh yeah, I got this lose-lose going on in my mind. It's rampant. No, I did not have that. In the middle of the conversation, when we were starting to get this, we had two conversations, by the way.
Well, let me pause you there
Okay.
before you go on.
Okay.
So it was brought to your awareness that was a potential.
Well, that had to have been going on because I'm only seeing lose-lose options in the business at this point.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
What does that mean?
What does what mean?
What does it mean that it was brought to your attention that you're only seeing a lose-lose, or you're limited on your options, and because you're only seeing a lose-lose? Was that things and choices and options that you've seen up until now or in that moment in CLC were limited because you've got this lose-lose perception? Or was it, I'm going into a conversation on where we're going and this is what I'm seeing? Like,
So
what was it? How was it?
On Friday, it wasn't about it wasn't about you and I. It was about where's the business going and what's happening? Why is the business not going how I want it to go? What do I think the steps are that I want to go or that the staff are moving to go towards? And so that it was talked about from my relationship to the business.
Okay.
And
So
then it was-
far, like it up until this point. Like looking back historically, not future wise.
Yeah. It's like why am I essentially I was whining and bitching and moaning about why I can't figure out where to go with the business and why the business is where it's at and why the staff is doing what they're doing.
Mm.
And then as I described all these things,
Mm.
eventually piecing that together, and then this group knows me and my history, it got brought to my attention, hey, look at, you're doing your lose-lose scenario. You're doing you want to go play Frisbee and your sisters and cousins don't want to. Like, oh fuck, look at that. I've
Okay.
created that dynamic within myself, and it's somehow in some form bled out into the staff and you, the staff, and the business. So that's what was
Does
brought.
that answer your question?
That was what was brought in on Friday, to my attention on Friday, before
Okay.
our conversation.
I have a follow-up question, but I'll step aside for a moment.
Thank you. I appreciate
No problem.
that. Because I was gonna tell you to stop.
I
Get,
I could tell the
out of
tone
my
in your
way.
voice. You're so nice. Sure, ask a question. Just one. Not anymore. No, don't go any further. No, stop. This is my turn.
Wrong question. You had your chance.
This is why co-leading a workshop with you is like, no good.
Super
It's like,
hard.
I've got it.
Just
Get
step
out
off.
of the way.
You,
Step off and smile.
you
Just look
better take
eye
the
candy.
backseat.
Just smile.
Yeah.
You're beautiful.
You're beautiful. That's all. Just look good. So you had that awareness.
That was brought. Yeah,
Yeah, it
to
was
my
brought
awareness.
to your awareness. Okay.
Um,
So then, did you do anything about that before getting on the call with Andy? You were like,
That was
okay.
my next question. That's so good. Nice. I'm on the right track.
Did I do anything to bring to that?
Yeah. Did you like? Oh,
No.
good. This is actually an important conversation, and I'm like got this shit going on, and I want to make sure that it doesn't infiltrate my conversation. Okay.
No.
Okay.
But I'll just, and I don't know if this is of importance. We had 2 conversations on Tuesday.
Okay.
One was in the morning, which we were getting. What's that? In the morning, which we were challenging and argumentative, but we weren't like yelling. We were just essentially in just kind of like minorly arguing. And in the middle of that conversation, I paused and brought that. I was realizing that was what was going on. Like, holy shit, we are not
On the one
moving.
Tuesday morning.
Yes, on the Tuesday morning conversation, I paused and brought that to the conversation saying, fuck, I'm doing it. I'm doing what I realized, what was brought to my attention
Okay.
on Friday. The afternoon, then
Yeah.
then we ended the conversation.
And you ended the conversation because of that?
No. We ended because we needed to go and we were done and
Oh.
whatnot. And then we said, let's schedule the conversation for later. And then we scheduled it for 2 hours later or something like that.
Yeah.
Then 2 hours later,
Yeah.
we got back into the conversation. And at that point, it was not in my awareness. And
So even after you caught yourself going there in the morning, it wasn't like man, I gotta watch this.
no,
What is your relationship to it?
I don't know what you mean.
Like when I'm like, now I'm
I
like
feel
hearing-
really belittled by that question.
No,
oh,
no,
you
no.
didn't bring that to your conversation the other day? That's how I felt. when you said that.
Okay.
What is your,
Very good.
Ask
I
your
actually really appreciate that you told me how you took that, because I think this is probably the point where we would get.
I just hold on to that one a little and then
Yeah,
build it and build it.
Yeah. Because I really, for real, like I said, you guys are so enlightened. You are so self-aware.
This feels so good.
You do. I mean, and I really say that with sincerity. Okay, they are conscious guys. Okay, and so I'm excited that you got into this level of a kerfuffle. I'm going to call it a kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle.
I like it. That you got into this level of a kerfuffle because it lets us know that there is some like whatever the next phase of who you two are becoming together
Mhm.
is getting challenged and brought to the surface. And that whole concept of this won't get you that or whatever, what's the saying,
What
what got you
thinking
here
they got you
here won't get you there.
Yeah.
That exactly.
Yeah.
Like you're in that right now. You guys are butting up against each other, and the old you is in this is jumping into this friction to wear away so that the new yous can build the next level. That's what I see is happening on
We're
the,
like chiseling each other out.
that's right.
Ooh.
Nice.
That's right.
We're
That's
works of art now.
That's that whole thing
Beautiful.
about like the marbleist who says he gets this big piece of marble and he goes, I always make these beautiful elephants and my job is to just shave away what isn't the elephant, right? And that's what you guys are in. You are shaving away what isn't necessary for the next level, right? That's what I think is going on. So that's why I want to know. I'm not asking you to belittle you. I'm asking you with sincerity. I want to know what your process is with those awarenesses. Like when something gets brought to your attention, what do you do? Like like, how do you treat it so that you, and it maybe there isn't an answer to this. Do you know what I mean? Like,
So how I treat it is I think I bring it up and I talk about it with people. I keep talking about it to elaborate on it more.
okay.
So for like a conversation on Friday, and then since my dad wasn't there, I went and I called him up on over the weekend and explained to him my stuff of what I got out of CLC.
Mhm.
I explained to you
Yeah.
as well what I got out of CLC.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
eventually, and then I said that to Andy in the middle of our kerfuffle.
Okay.
I don't know. That wasn't for exploration. That was like,
Sure.
oh
Sure.
fuck, I'm doing it.
Right. Okay.
But it's a constant conversation.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So this is good because this again, something in you is wearing away so that the next version of you can be revealed, and that might be something that you incorporate into the next version of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. So now let's look at what's getting worn away. Like what is being chiseled off here, right? And in this dynamic of Lyndon doesn't get what he wants, right? You have developed two personas, it sounds like. Because you're certain you're not going to get what you want, so then you go into either figuring out how to do it on your own,
Mm-hmm.
or finding a way to chameleon, like to get in with them,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so now with what you want, I think it might be interesting to just go in why those won't work and what you'll have to do instead.
I'm pretty sure we got a wet diaper.
I'm 100% sure we do.
Well, so you and I missed the conversation. So here, how about we?
I don't think so. Here, I asked you a question. No,
We're not in the middle of
I
the
asked you-
conversation.
we
It's
are.
okay.
No, I was gonna say we could just pause. Hello, guys. We have the ability to. We'll be back in a second. Okay, and we're back.
And we're back. So the question that I asked you was, there is a version of you that is emerging, and if you want to think about it this way, which I always like to do, when you were yelling, quote unquote, at Andy, you were really yelling at the version of you that has to end.
That has to die.
So who were you yelling at?
How do I answer that?
So you would describe you would say the aspect of me that does this, that believes that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the aspect of me that believes that people don't want to do what I want to do, that I have to give up what I want in order for people to come and play with me and be with me, that doesn't know how to create something that's enticing for people to want to come, and create a vision and motivate people.
Okay. How does that have you show up as a partner or a teammate?
When I'm the old way.
Yeah, and when those beliefs are running you.
Wow, we are pukey. How does it show up?
Yeah, like how does Lyndon behave when he is believing that nobody wants what he wants, that he has to give up what he wants to do what they want?
I show up by getting quiet, pulling back, not voicing an opinion.
You miss me?
Want to go see your mom? You doing good on your first podcast? Way to go.
Real good. The whole world's gonna hear your voice now.
So ask the question again.
So how do you behave?
So I
Yeah,
pull
what do you
back.
do?
I don't voice my opinion.
Uh-huh.
I just go along with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How do you see other people when you're in that frame of mind? They're what?
They are. I see them as. It's like it's something like they're boring. What they're doing is boring.
Okay,
Like it's lame. It's not fun.
there we go.
Cool for them, but that like whatever for me. That's how it sits.
Very good. And then like, but how do you treat them? So you've got that going on underneath the surface, right? They're lame, they're boring, they're this, they're that. But how do you treat them with that going on?
I'm pulled back. And
Okay.
and the little that they get out of me, it's like a facade of interest, of minor.
Okay. So you
of
feign interest.
a feign,
Yeah.
feign minor interest. I don't even show like oh yeah, let's do this, guys. Let's get involved. Like
Okay.
like I could imagine you'd like womp yourself to get involved or something. Like
Yeah.
I don't womp myself. Like got it. All right, we're getting on that bandwagon together.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Are you open to feedback at this point? Would you be interested to hear how Andy experiences you?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I showed up in all of those ways. But sure, yeah.
Okay. So Andy, like, how do you feel when like you can probably tell that Lyndon is in reaction or not really present to what's going on or something, right? Like, so.
We had this conversation.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. So you've already given him this feedback.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's how he showed up at the Tuesday morning meeting in person with everyone.
That he was quiet.
He was reserved, quiet,
held
held back. He did bring forth a couple of questions. It was the same question, and it was down the same line of needing a different direction for him to be involved.
Got it. But not advocating for something, not saying this is what I want, this is what I think we should do, this is where I'm coming from. Got it. Okay, so then there you go. So you don't make a stand, but you ask questions, and the questions, it sound like, have an agenda.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time pulling
asking that
myself out of what the actual content of the things were. So
then just take a look at it and say, and like when you're listening and you have this perspective that they're lame and they're boring and you don't want to do that, right? And you feign interest.
yeah, so here's how I would generalize myself of what I think that I did was I want to play your game. Tell me why this is fun.
Okay, yeah, because you sell me.
You sell me. You're saying go kick the ball, and I'm like, why is this going to be fun? And then nobody, essentially, the way that I heard it, whatever they said was, just kick the ball.
But nobody can convince me it's going to be fun.
Right, because you're already
still
like,
just
it's
kicking the
lame,
ball.
this is boring.
Yeah, that's what.
I don't
that's what it
care
felt
if
like.
you tell me that.
This is
Butterfinger
awesome, dude.
Rainbow
Thank
is
you.
gonna-
Thank you for doing this. This
You're
is
welcome.
fantastic.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is good because this is recorded, so you can listen to this
no.
whenever you
Oh, no, our
need to
little-
remember.
Don't pay attention to that.
Okay, so essentially, it might be good at the end of this podcast to have some kind of like ceremony to, like maybe we could write a eulogy for this aspect of yourself.
I was thinking of something completely different.
Oh.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, I think there's got to be something that maybe the two of you do to ritualize the end of that
The end of that persona.
the end of the way that you show up. Because, like,
What should we call that?
Ooh, good
that
question.
Lyndon?
What should we
That's
call that?
such an
Lyndon?
Elizabeth question.
Isn't it?
Such
I
an
know, it's a good one.
Elizabeth is a couples counselor.
I met Elizabeth.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
she's rad.
She's rad.
Do you know that she has elfin script tattooed on her wrist?
Fish lyrics.
Fish lyrics.
Fish lyrics in
Written in
elfish.
elf-
And elfish.
Elfish. Nice.
Dude,
That's
if that's not
fantastic.
the coolest chick alive, I don't know what.
Okay. What was I saying? Oh, naming. I was naming that persona. That persona would be named a Frisbee Boy.
There we go.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So there you
Can we
go.
burn up
Hey,
Frisbees?
Frisbee Boy.
There you go. You
We
could
could-
write all the characteristics on a frisbee.
If I'm ever
and then
doing anything like that,
toss
just
it.
fucking nail me in the forehead. And I'll get angry, but then I'll be like, damn it. I'm
No, you
doing
guys hike up a mountain, write all the characteristics on the frisbee, and then just throw
it.
it
Chuck
out.
it.
On fire.
It will never come
Yeah,
back. to
yeah.
me.
We'll get lighter fluid.
On fire.
Light the whole
Let's do
mountain
the
on
whole
fire.
On fire.
I
Watch
like
these guys get red more.
All right, Frisbee Boy is the old persona. Because
Okay.
nobody wanted to play Frisbee with him.
That's it.
So I'm gonna throw some words in here that you did not say, but I'm going to.
Damn.
I'm just gonna just to help because I really don't like.
Oh, this is where she helps me.
Tell me how this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's an
Just go.
unconscious resentment in there. You're already resentful that you had to give up what you wanted.
Yeah.
And so you're resentful and you're in the corner with your arms crossed. Like, tell me why we're playing this game. Like there's like a tantrum in there. And I'm just bringing it up as like there's an emotional quality to your feigned interest that also has to be named.
Oh.
There's an
Interesting.
emotional quality to my feigned interest.
Yeah,
That makes me-
Because you're not feigning interest, like, really? Huh, that's interesting. Oh, cool. Like, you're not just feigning interest. There's an emotional quality to that. Like,
Totally.
so tell me
I
why
am-
we're doing this. Like, there's an undertone of resentment.
there's an undertone of resentment, and underneath all of that is just sadness. Like,
Yeah, there you go.
This
Perfect.
is not. This
Perfect.
is not
Beautiful.
what I.
Mm.
Because you already lost.
Correct.
So there's sadness and there's grief. And then there's resentment layered on top of that.
Correct.
And then the feigned interest, right? So
Mm.
perfect. So just the reason I would just want to name all those characteristics so that you can really see it happening.
She's got that down. That's a good one.
The what?
Ah!
Oh yeah.
She stared. She's like, "Hey, don't take my line."
Sorry.
Well, I appreciate more than crying because she doesn't like cry. She just goes, "Hey, I'm upset. Hi, I can't speak or do anything for myself. Can somebody please help me?"
Yeah, I'm so glad you have that perspective. That makes a great mom.
Oh, good.
Okay. So yes, got it. Eulogy to Frisbee Boy and his sad resentment, feigned interest.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Great.
That's that. That's that with that.
Wow,
Okay.
that's cute.
So, you could put her in the thing too.
You wanna go rock and roll in this thing?
So just to go back for a
Yeah.
second, the anger and the expression of the yelling, as
Mhm.
I'm terming it, was his disagreement with that part of himself.
Well, yeah, I put it that way
Mm-hmm.
for discovery purposes. I don't know what he was actually yelling at. You know what I
He's
mean?
yelling at me.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
you know,
For discovery purposes.
I asked him that
Interesting.
that way for discovery purposes, just to kind of put a like an image in the mind. Like what if I were yelling at it, you know, like who would I be yelling at? I don't know if that was actually what stimulated that. If based on the conversation that I had with Lyndon after
Mm.
the fact, it was he was finally getting to the place where he was willing to advocate for what he wanted,
Mm.
but he was still standing on the victim triangle doing it. So it wasn't like a clean advocating for what he wanted. There was still there was an unnamed resentment that was guiding it.
Interesting.
But that's from that one conversation that we had.
Right.
You still had resented that you gave up what you wanted, and now you were like yelling about it.
Mm-hmm.
That was what was happening.
Damn, that is so challenging to see that. It's challenging for me to see that or experience that in the moment, to understand what's going on for someone else in that
Yeah.
state.
Probably because there was something going on with you.
For sure.
If you were standing in a clean, clear space, you'd be like, oh, you're having a tantrum.
Yeah.
But you weren't clean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So then let's shift focus over to you and go into where you were standing, because you already opened up saying, I'm feeling challenged with a sense of self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you weren't feeling worthy, there's no fucking way you're going to look at him and go, oh, I see what's happening with you. Because you're like, you're drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but good news is, just like with Lyndon's share, you have mastered that to this level. And now the phoenix that's rising out of you, that is going to become this next version of yourself, is getting ready to shed that part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
For sure.
That's happening. There's no doubt in my mind that that's where the two of you are.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just look at what was going on for you in that particular circumstance under those conditions or whatever. So again, we can gain some awareness, name the identity, and then maybe have something to set on fire.
Sounds awesome.
Okay, cool. So then, so I'm just gonna ask a question and we'll see what happens. And it feels random, but it might not be. Where were you the most in reaction during that whole day? Just take that Tuesday. Where were you the most in reaction that day?
At the end of that conversation.
At the end of the conversation. So not even in the middle of it when he's yelling, screaming, whatever.
Which one? Oh, in the afternoon conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happened at the end of that conversation that you felt the most reactive?
He said, I love you. I said, I love you back. I was crying and had been crying for a minute. And when I got off the call, I was like, why am I here?
Which part are you reacting to? That you were crying and he wasn't, or that you were?
That I did not know, even though he said the words that I need to hear, that I like, one of the things that I need is to feel and experience being loved. He said that to me. And I reciprocated. And it didn't help.
Fan-fucking-tastic. I'm so jacked up right now.
I could tell. And that's the end of the show. Tune in next week.
Yeah.
For part 2. Just kidding.
Where we throw the frisbee. No reconciliation for Andy. But Cassie feels.
Cassie got hers. We're done.
Oh God, this is why I couldn't be a therapist. You know what I mean? Because I would definitely break the professionalism barrier 100,000 times a day. So okay, so you're the point that you were the most in reaction was when you heard the words "I love you," and it didn't help. Right? Because what did it not help? What were you feeling still that didn't help or soothe or calm or whatever?
Completely useless and worthless.
Okay, so you still felt completely useless and worthless. Okay. Oh, fuck yes. Okay. I can rein myself in. Oh my God, I'm so good.
Don't rein it in.
No, because I'm already at the end. I have to walk us to the end before we can like all celebrate together. Okay. And so when you said, why am I here?
Yeah.
Right? Finish like, why am I where? Like paint that picture for me. Like, why am I still at Productive Learning? Why am I working with Lyndon? Why am I like, why are you where?
Why am I still a productive learning?
Okay.
Why those questions for sure. Mhm.
Why am I working with Lyndon?
Mhm.
Okay. Because why? In other words, right? You're saying, why am I still here? Right?
Mhm.
And I'm imagining that it's like, if those words make me feel better, I wouldn't question why I'm here.
Mhm.
Is that right? Okay. So
If those words made me feel better, and then doubting the truth of the words and doubting the truth of my understanding of them.
So if I didn't doubt it, then I would feel okay about working at Productive Learning.
I would feel okay about
Everything in life. If you didn't doubt those words. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's so many layers to this. Okay,
It's
so
like an onion.
it is. It's a total onion. So I kind of feel like just like jump into the end. Because I keep going
Don't
there
need to
anyway.
witness.
Okay.
Do it.
What was the gift for you in that moment that you didn't see at that moment?
At the end of their conversation?
Yeah.
And my reaction?
Yeah.
It's a gift that I didn't see.
Yeah. What was let me put it this way. It was an answer to your prayer, but you didn't realize it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the love I'm looking for isn't coming from outside of me.
Kaboom.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so because you couldn't see that in the moment, you questioned, like, why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why be here? I'm not gonna get what I'm not gonna get loved.
Mm-hmm.
So why be here? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to like underline that, highlight it, circle it. Like when that doubt comes up, why am I here? Answer that fucking question. That is not a why am I here? Fuck you, Lyndon. That is a why am I here? Wait a second. I need to answer that question because that is the part of me that is feeling unloved, asking for myself to love me.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay.
Okay.
Yep. I'm here at the end with you.
Beautiful. Okay. So what part of you is dying? What part of you is it that we are going to eulogize? What are the characteristics and the qualities of that guy that doesn't feel loved and it feels unworthy, sees himself as unworthy and useless? Was that the word that you used?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
Okay. Where are you struggling and what with?
I've been struggling for a few days. And so this is I feel like I'm coming back to the edge of this pit and I'm uncomfortable and don't really want to go. So
Good.
Let's go.
Very good. Can I just put a little bit more context around that for our consenting adults?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so for our consenting adults, when Andy says that he's walking up to the edge of a pit and he's struggling and he doesn't want to go in, basically, if we were going to characterize that voice, that is the aspect of him that feels unworthy, but also used unworthiness and uselessness as a defense mechanism against something that was at risk. Okay, so it's actually a strategy for safety and survival to believe that he is worthless and useless. How did that serve you? How did being useless and worthless serve you in your life?
People felt sorry for me, and that was as close to love as I could get.
Very good.
Mm. It's heartbreaking.
Mhm.
And so when I'm saying, hey, Andy, let's eulogize this part of you that kept you safe for so long, he's walking up to that cliff and going, are you fucking kidding me? I am not sure I'm going to get loved. I think I have to have people feel sorry for me to get loved. And you're asking me to give that up? Fuck that. I'm struggling.
It's a big struggle, Jesus
That's
Christ.
no doubt.
Fucking A. Okay.
Bottoms up.
Yeah, because we're basically looking at however many years of it being redundantly wired into your brain, into your heart, into your soul, that you are not loved.
Mhm.
And if you're not loved, then I'm just going to believe I'm worthless and useless, because then at least somebody will feel sorry for me. I will just take that second choice, even though it's shitty, because at least it's something.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So now I'm asking you to give that up and have faith that you will love you more than you can even imagine right now. I mean, it's a huge.
That's
undertaking.
really challenging.
Yeah.
That's okay. So that is also something that wasn't okay.
Was loving yourself.
Yeah, loving myself, being proud of myself, accepting and loving the things that I did. The critique, the no, that can't be right. No, that's not it. No, you're not able to do that. No. Fuck, this is wrong.
Right.
This is
Yep.
inaccurate. Even when I would go and do extra credit fucking homework,
Yep.
I was looked at like, why are you turning this in? Like, fuck you, this is extra credit.
Yeah.
I'm now fucking insane.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
totally. Okay, so then maybe that part has to die first.
let's just kill them all in a fucking mass
No.
genocide.
That's lacking love for yourself.
Oh,
Wow.
God.
Love you.
Damn.
Love the process.
Mass murder and suicide sounded like a good idea.
Now Cassie's got a drink. Okay.
Yeah.
All
A
right.
non-alcoholic drink. Oh boy,
All right.
bottoms up.
So bring it back. I heard what you said. Love, compassion, care for myself in the process.
So what I'm saying
Mhm.
is that maybe it's too risky to give up worthless and useless right now. Right? And maybe it's better to focus on the identity that is wrapped around I shouldn't or I don't love myself. Like it's not okay to love myself.
Right.
That we let that part of your identity go first. Right? That we eulogize that aspect and all the characteristics that you have developed around that identity.
Okay. I really want this to be simple.
Be a dog.
I dropped my ball.
I know,
Somebody
right?
get my ball.
You are the wrong species for simple, my friend.
All right, so this is what's coming to mind, and I'm laughing. So this is awesome.
You're good.
So one of the things that I've done historically is attach myself to the things that I do. Right, I'm my
Okay.
guacamole.
Okay.
Here's my guacamole. I hope you like it, because if you like it, then you like me.
Uh-huh.
Right. And so that search for that is constant, but then I'm also anticipating nobody's gonna like my guacamole. And so I don't even like my guacamole. So like, what is it that I can find about me and about what I do and about how I am in the world that I like regardless. And then I've got all these rules coming into my mind that I can't take it to someone else and try and get their approval, because that's not gonna cut it. That's not gonna do it. And so now I'm already fucking
okay,
out here
perfect.
in this thing.
This is why like coming up with strategies for personal development is oh God, what's the word I want to use? It's ineffective. Okay. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound. Okay. It's like, it's okay for a little while, but at some point you got to let the wound air out. You can't just keep it covered up all the time, right?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it needs to be covered up. And so I've got to use the strategy to get me so far,
Sure.
right? So to give yourself direction, like I can't go to other people for approval. That's not true. Of course you can. You can go to other people for approval. If you're going to people for approval because you're not feeling it in yourself and you're hoping they're going to fill your bucket, you're going to turn up short, right? But if you go to people for approval because you just like it, and you go, hey, Lyndon, do you approve? And he goes, no. And you're like, okay, Cassie, do you approve? And I go, yeah. You're like, right on. You know what I mean? Like, it's not there to fill up your bucket. You're just going around and getting approval because it feels good to do that and you like it. And it doesn't need to fill you up. You're already full. You just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get the difference?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm saying, let's not come up with strategies for you. I don't think strategies are going to be helpful. I think you're beyond the point that you need a Band-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can let the wound air out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for you, I would look at what persona, what characteristics or qualities have you developed as a strategy for not loving yourself that you would be willing to let go of. Just like Lyndon asks questions that feign interest with an air of resentment that cover up his sadness, right?
Yeah.
How do you behave? Like you show people things, but you don't ask them for direct feedback. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do that helps keep this? I'm looking for approval, but I don't even like my own shit. So I'm coming in defensive, but I'm really hoping you like it enough to get over my defensiveness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get the concept of it, but what are the characteristics of it? I love Grace's cookies, man. Like,
The things that I really like, I don't share.
perfect. So there's one characteristic,
Yeah.
right? The things I really enjoy, I'm not sharing with people. I'm protecting that.
Yeah.
Perfect. One. What else?
I will find ways and figure out how to do things that I think other people want to see and try to do them and not do them very well and then want their approval.
Say that one more time. You do it not very well and want their approval, essentially. Why do you do it not very well? Like you intentionally do it not very well?
No, there's some things that I don't know that I'm all that great at, but I can figure out and get by.
Okay, got it.
And I don't even like what I've come up with because I have very high standards. I
Okay.
have very high standards for myself and for others. And so just
Okay,
doing
got
that and getting it by, that's where I'm trying to feed some of that approval.
Beautiful. Okay.
Does that
So
make
then-
sense?
Yeah, totally. So I'm gonna parse that out a little bit because there's a lot of elements to that.
Great.
I wonder how much these
Like how
little
much
shits
Grace
can hear.
Yeah. Are consenting adults.
It's gonna be a thing.
She's talking. Now she might be wet.
maybe.
Anyway, she also is just talking. So I'm gonna parse that out. So one is you put up a facade that you're going to do it, you're going to do it well. Meanwhile, you don't really trust that you're good at it, but you're desperate to figure it out so that at least you can do something.
Yep.
Right? So there's a lack of transparency in your work sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, so you're saying okay. I'm using the word transparency because like what I mean.
It feels like you're leading me down somewhere. I'm not quite sure where you're going. And I think I understand what you mean.
Okay, got it.
So let's get a little bit further
Okay.
and see if it fits.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm trying to do is I think there's a lot of characteristics in that one thing that you just talked about.
There
and
are,
I want to pull each one of them out
Okay.
so that you can go, oh, I'm doing it. Oh, I'm doing it. Oh, I'm doing it. And I already eulogized that guy. So I'm going to love me. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to have a bunch of places that you could go, no, I love me. Oh no, I'm going to love me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So rather than have me do it and kick it back to you, why don't you pull it apart? So
Brilliant. Okay. So we take on projects and things that are not really in my set of skills and genius and whatever.
Beautiful.
It's one aspect.
Okay, so you
Second.
knowingly take things that are not your wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you do it? What does the other person think when you take it on? Because they're not thinking that it's not in your wheelhouse.
What is the other person thinking?
Yeah, like you put out some kind of promotion.
I've got this.
Okay, perfect. So you know you don't got this, but you project an air of I've got this.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you project?
Probably. Don't worry about it.
Okay, wonderful. Very good. Because here's another thing. When it doesn't work out,
Mm-hmm.
what do you get upset at them about?
Bringing shit up that I didn't consider. Having a different expectation.
You get upset with them for having a different expectation? Okay, got it. Okay, so then let me, because I'm trying to get the picture. So you do I got it, don't worry about it, which actually sets you up for having different expectations because there's no conversation about it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I got it, don't worry about it. And then let's also not talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm clear enough to take it off and look like I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are you expecting? Now that you've done this, that you've taken this thing that isn't in your wheelhouse,
Mm-hmm.
and you know it,
Mm-hmm.
what are you expecting from them?
From them?
Yeah, what are you hoping for?
Appreciation.
Okay, so you're hoping that they appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are you hoping that will do for you?
Make me feel good.
Okay. Make you feel good,
Useful.
useful,
Worthy.
perfect. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
very good. Okay, so those are the aspects,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, so we pulled that one apart. Okay, so what else do you do, or what other characteristics do you have when you're in this, it's not okay for me to love me person?
When I do shit that's pretty amazing and really awesome and that I
Yeah.
really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
There is always, I'm getting super dramatic here.
It's totally fine.
There's always somebody that comes in and says, yeah, but.
God, I wonder who that is. Probably a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, by the way, I'm looking at that bitch. Yeah. Okay. There's always somebody who says, yeah, but. Right.
Yeah.
And when somebody says, yeah, but, how do you show up?
You're right.
You're right.
You're right, because if I disagree with you, then I'm definitely out. I'm definitely
So you're
not
like
gonna
kind
be
of
loved.
trapped.
I am so fucking trapped. Yeah, good.
Okay.
That's exactly how it feels.
Yeah, totally. Anything else that this persona of it's not okay for me to love me? So just to go over them again, I don't actually share what I like. I protect that, right? I say yes to things that aren't in my wheelhouse, right? And there's all the things that we talked about. Then I hope that they're going to appreciate me enough that I feel useful and worthy, but it never really happens because I already know that it's not good. And I projected this air of, I got it, don't worry about it. So then we can't even clarify expectations. So I set it up that there's not going to be that clear.
Yeah, and I can't even accept the appreciation and get excited about
Beautiful.
it.
So
either.
then even if you are appreciative, it's like it's not enough. It doesn't, it's
Like
like
I can't join that bandwagon
Cannot
because
get
I
on
cannot
that,
love myself.
right? Cannot.
Cannot love
And
myself.
then
That's right.
even when you do something that is out of this world, you knocked it out of the ballpark, you feel great about it. There's always somebody who says, yeah, but, and then you have to go along with that because then you for sure won't be loved, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't matter either when the yeah but comes. The yeah but could come before it goes out so
Right.
other people see it, or come months later saying, yeah, you did all that work, it was really great, but the results that came from that or the expense that came because of that, it's not okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's totally in this conversation.
She's just talking.
Yeah. That's
Everybody, this
amazing.
is a talking.
You guys are talking. I'm gonna talk.
This is gonna be the best podcast ever.
That nobody besides us will hear.
Yeah, right, totally.
Because they're just gonna hear.
So anything else for this persona that it's not okay to love you?
There is a part of a persona that kind of fed into this one previously that I think I have worked on and has been eulogized,
Oh, okay.
which is this underlying belief that I am bad or wrong. And so that automatically makes me unlovable, right? So that piece I think has been fairly disconnected.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like it's attached here
Yeah, yeah,
to me.
yeah.
But knowing that that's been a deep-rooted thing, there could be some little bit. That's why I'm mentioning it. But
Well, so here's where I would invite you to look.
yeah,
There's no doubt that you've probably done work on the belief.
yeah,
I would double check that the characteristics of that persona have been addressed. Because here's what I've come to find about me and about people in general is you are so cute, Lala.
Just want to talk, huh?
she's got so much to say.
Wow.
Wow. Is that we work on our beliefs and we realize that there's like a disconnect from the quality, like of the emotional quality and the emotional intensity of that belief. But our personality hasn't right-sized itself yet.
Sure.
Because that's so habitual to just act that way or say those things or do whatever, you know what I mean? That sometimes we have to make sure that those don't just crop up and then reinvigorate the belief that we've worked on for so long.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, that's just kind of like a side note. It might be useful here, I mean, but you do have a nice long list of characteristics. Oh, that turned into a cry.
That was a cry.
Yeah. Grace wants to be. Do you want to talk about something, baby girl?
For a second? You can finish the conversation. Sure.
That was wild.
Awesome.
It's fun. She does talk a lot, right? You guys all heard it. Everybody heard it.
Mhm.
And she's usually saying something.
Yeah.
So it usually has a do this attached to it, you know? And so she'll say it a number of times, and if we don't figure it out, she'll let us know.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate about her, you know? She's gonna figure it out. So anyway, so we outlined a bunch of characteristics from the persona that you developed because it wasn't okay for you to love yourself, right?
Yeah.
Now that is being shed away here, and it is in this conflict between you and Lyndon is arising to help that shedding take place. It's the friction necessary to burn that stuff up,
That's so cool. I like that.
right?
Yeah.
So you're in a purification process, right?
Oh yeah, we know about those.
Yep.
It's cleanse.
It's a cleanse. You're
Wow.
cleansing. It's a cleanse. And so you just want to be really clear and deliberate about what is being cleansed, right? Because otherwise we can just keep we can keep initiating the same conflict over and over again because we haven't realized that we're engaging in that conflict in the first place to help us purify this thing.
That's beautiful.
So with awareness, conflict becomes a cleanse.
Okay.
Right? And so I have a sense, because it's come up, that the worthlessness and uselessness persona is also ready to begin its purification process. I don't think it is ready to be thrown off the cliff like the persona that loving yourself is not okay, especially because when you told the story about turning in the extra credit work, you were so animated about it. There was a sense of humor about it. Whereas when we invited the idea of the uselessness and the worthlessness one, it was like, whoa, I'm struggling, right?
Yeah.
So that just lets you know where you are in your process for that.
Very cool.
Right? So, so preview of coming attractions. Expect the worthlessness and useless feeling to come up a lot.
It is.
Good. Just expect it to come up a lot. And so in this next version of yourself, right, that's losing this identity that it's not okay to love you, right? Start to think about how you will love you through this purification process with the useless and the worthless.
God, you are so brilliant.
Lyndon doesn't say shit like that.
That's why you like working with me more.
Just kidding. Except I'm not. No, just kidding. But you get what I'm saying about you, right? You, the next version of you is going to be much more willing to love yourself, right? So how to love yourself during that purification process.
That's cool.
So in your eulogy, consider that.
Okay.
Cool.
I think that's a wrap. Do we need to do anything more to finish this off, Lyndon? Or are you good? Just say goodbye to baby Grace.
Bye, everybody.
What time is it?
Hope you enjoy listening. Who knows? Doesn't matter.
Okay.
We can wrap.
Yeah. So anyway,
Did you wrap it well?
No. I can wrap. I know how to wrap this. I know how to wrap this. So okay. So you guys have a funeral to attend.
Yeah.
Some identities.
Frisbee boy, and what's your identity's name?
Oh
But did you not come up with that
yeah. We didn't name your persona.
Oh, damn.
Frisbee boy's already taken, okay?
I understand. Yeah.
I feel like it's here's my damn extra credit.
Wow. Yeah. Here's my damn extra credit.
What was your label? What's his name?
Yeah. Oh, that's why.
What's why?
She's tired.
Oh. Bright boy, I guess.
Bright
We
boy.
can do bright boy.
Bright boy.
Bright boy. Okay. Bright boy. So we're gonna eulogize Frisbee boy and bright boy. Okay. And then when you guys have your conversations going forward, I would invite you to be mindful of who you're bringing into the conversation, right? Because the next version of you hasn't been fully defined yet. This conflict is coming up for the purification process, right?
Yeah.
So it's it's the chisel that's wearing away what's not the elephant, right? But the elephant hasn't been fully visualized yet, it hasn't been fully formed. And so that's why I think the role conversation is going to be necessary. If you have the purpose for the conversation, that's one element, but the other element is going to be, who am I in relationship to that purpose? And who are you in relationship to that purpose, so that we can facilitate it happening.
Okay.
Okay. And that's going to help shape who you're becoming through this purification process.
What do you think about that?
That was great. Did you capture all of it? Because I only got a quarter of that last part.
It's all on the podcast.
Yeah.
You heard it
Toxic.
here, people. Conscious guys get laid more
Eventually.
eventually.
Boom.
And Grace has got to go to sleep, so I've got to go.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Hope you get laid.
Eventually.
Damn.